But hey, listen. The person who's happy about this situation is Paroti. Wherever Paroti is like, yo, I told you.
I told you. Look, see, look.
Yeah, this is like, yeah. Look, what did I say? What, bro, Paroti, when Paroti saw all the hate, bro was fist pumping, man. He was celebrating like he scored at 90th minute winner, like at the Banabao.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 30% podcast, episode 143. Karibuni kwenye extravaganza. My name is Sam Are. That's how you pronounce it, Sam Are. And my co-host is Afamifuna Onyebadi. How do you pronounce it?
Exactly the way you did. Your Karibuni kwenye extravaganza count is at, I think, 4 now. I think we've done this.
That's because you never join me. You never join me. Karibuni kwenye extravaganza, a family.
5.
Yeah. I didn't even know the lyrics. Look, Najiangusha. I'm falling myself. Welcome, Karibu. 30% podcast. We talk about the music industry. If you're new here, welcome so much. We appreciate you. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Talk about the music industry.
Thank you for joining us, man.
Everything that not everything that happens, most of the things that happen, and we're trying to, we try to talk about them and give a little bit of an insight from the perspective of two producers who have had a little bit of experience. But yeah, Afam, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Still kicking, still pushing on. Things are cooling down in New York finally. Although still it's pretty hot. Like I think this week everything is just gonna be like, every day is going to be like 30, 31. Unfortunately, it's been so hot and humid. But anyway, aside from that, doing good. Have I been doing anything extracurricular that would interest our listeners? I mean, been mixing music. I haven't had to like mix vocals in a minute. So it's been good that I've had a project to work on, which you all might hear relatively soon. So that's nice.
Can you say from who or no?
I don't think I can say
signed
from
an NDA.
Who, but
goodness. An NDA again ruins anticipation for an album. We should do it with NDAs. I have
not signed an NDA, my guy.
Have you ever given anyone an NDA, Afam? Have you ever sent over an NDA for anything you've been doing? Ever?
Anything that I've been doing, no.
Yeah.
I've never I've never had anyone sign an NDA. That's crazy.
Can you imagine?
Maybe
Afam
one
sending
day,
me an NDA. Throw it in the trash.
Listen. When I level up, there will be signs. There will be signs, and NDAs will have to be signed, I guess. So yeah. Aside from that, I mean, there's not, bro. My life has been empty since Love Island ended. There's really been nothing to
Do you know how crazy that statement is? Your life has been empty since Love Island ended. Love Island is a TV show where other people are their love lives are thriving and are active. They're active, and you are here sitting down watching them, saying now you feel empty because you can't watch. Bro, go outside. Step outside. Go and look at the sky. Touch grass.
Who said I don't know? Wait, who said? Actually, I was touching grass yesterday. It's just like those are details that are not that exciting, I guess.
I went to the park.
I genuinely did.
Had some dogs.
I genuinely did. I didn't throw the frisbees, but
see.
I genuinely was at the park yesterday, so it was nice. It was chill. I was at Prospect Park, which is in Brooklyn, and yeah, it's a really, really big park. There were so many people outside. Multiple families doing
bonding
barbecues,
and stuff. Yuck.
People playing volleyball, people playing baseball.
Building familial connections.
Bro, so many people out with their dogs. It was such a vibe. Absolutely. Yeah, how about you, man? How's your week been? Have you been touching grass? Yeah. Have you been touching grass? Huh?
I have been touching grass. Been playing with doggies. I love doggies. I've been playing with them. We have a bunch of clouds with eyes is what I call them. Clouds with eyes that are overexcited to see me. So they have been grounding me. Apart from that, honestly, nothing interesting. But just some stuff. Some work with some artists, putting some packs together to send out still. And yeah, and thinking about a concept. I've been thinking about a concept for the track I hope I drop this year. And just trying to do it differently because there's a thing about me that I've been learning in an effort not to overshare here. But then there's a weird thing about the fear of being seen. I don't know if you've come across that statement, and where you just don't. It's why a lot of producers, Instagrams and what do you call it are very cryptic, and artists as well. Why artists are because sometimes it's not just being cryptic and mysterious. Sometimes people are just afraid of being seen and being judged. So I've been trying to figure out how to navigate my career with that fear in mind, or trying to get rid of it. It's something a lot of artists go through, I think. So yeah, but apart from that, just been chill, cool. I feel a cold coming on. I don't know why. We rebuke it.
Maybe that's because you've been chill.
All right. What are we talking?
No, listen.
It has been cold, but colds don't come from
the people listening.
Cold weather.
What do colds come from?
Isn't it a virus?
Us, Sam.
Isn't it a virus? It just goes around at certain points. It's not because it's cold.
Science knowledge from the 30% podcast. Let's go. Woo. Yes. Yes, sir.
Don't quote me. Don't quote, because if it was right, then everyone in the Greenland and Iceland and the northern countries and southern countries would be having flus all year round. Colds are not from cold weather. Anyway, that's not what
colds
this podcast is about.
Colds are from bad spirits. So that's my take on it.
Not.
Yeah, that's why we say. That's why we say bless you. That's why we say.
That's
bless
not
you
why
when
we say
somebody
bless
sneezes.
you. That's not why we say bless you.
No, genuinely, that's actually why they really did believe that. Google the etymology, or not etymology, but just the history of why people say bless you when you sneeze. Why do you think people say bless you when you sneeze?
I don't know. I honestly haven't thought about it.
That's where it comes from. That's what you see. Some you be over here thinking I'm just just making up things in my room, daydreaming. Bro, I'm out here with some niche knowledge.
Indie knowledge. Anyway, what's up, man? What are you talking about?
Okay, so
what happened in the industry?
You guys will never believe this. You'll never believe what I'm about to tell you. But last podcast, Sam and I were talking about a topic. I believe we were talking about Toxic Lyrikali. And I was saying some stuff about him, and I was like, oh, I hope when he as he keeps going in his career, I hope he doesn't do any of that BS we see a lot of artists do when they align themselves with politicians and this and that. And then I stopped myself and I was like, fourth wall, by the way, guys. I was like, you know what? I don't really want to include that because I don't even see Toxic Lyrikali. Yeah, I was just like, you know what, Sam? Let's just edit that out because I don't even see Toxic Lyrikali doing this or whatever. So you guys will never believe me. You will never believe me. Lo and behold, I see this man over here dapping up Ruto on my screen, and I'm like, what?
Crazy.
I'm like, what?
Craziness. This is true, by the way. It's not. Afam is not capping. It's actually true. We edited out
this genuinely happened.
Him concerned about Toxic going down that route.
And go down that route, he did. So what Sam and I are talking about is Toxic Lyrikali recently was on our TV screens, on our phones, saying two-term. Because
and rather unenthusiastically too. He didn't even sound like he didn't even sound so
don't even
enthusiastic
give him
for the
don't
two-term.
even give him. You're giving him please. You're copying him please right now.
I was going to be
man.
toxic advocate. Toxic advocate.
You copying him please is big toxic for Toxic Lyrikali, but listen, KJ, who used to be a comedian and is now a very, very annoying politician, was up there egging him on to say two-term. By the way, actually, it's very dangerous because he actually says, oh, two-term, three-term. He snuck in the word
He snuck in more terms.
That's worrying. People say,
us.
no, people be saying these things as jokes until they're not jokes, until they're reality, and then you're
49 years
what?
later, you have
that was the soft launch.
That
was the soft launch of three-term, bro. I'm not even kidding. But like, anyway, you see Toxic Lyrikali there saying two-term, and then you see him go back or turn back, and the president is behind him and he daps him up, and then it looks like they talk for just like 30 seconds. They have a brief exchange.
Yeah.
Ruto didn't really say anything.
He was reciting
just
back the
smiled.
lyrics to Backbencher, the ones he knew.
To Backbencher. And yeah, this left a lot of Kenyans very, very disappointed. And
especially the youth too. Yeah.
Especially that.
Gen Zs.
I mean,
quote,
we're
unquote.
on here. So yeah, and I want to ask Sam that you see this when this news broke. Like, how did you feel about this? Like, what was your like initial reaction? Because I'm not gonna lie, mine was just shock and horror.
Yeah. I mean, my initial one was, first of all, I was just like, I didn't want to believe it until I watched the video. Where just the past year and some change have been ridiculously difficult especially for the youth, in just how we've been, the things we're worried about, being worried about the country and trying to see it thrive, trying to see it flourish, and the people who seem like they're against that. You would think, so, all right, how do I go about this? You would think that the voices of the youth, the ones who are have this, like last episode, I kept saying like the spotlight is on him. The ones who have that spotlight on them and have some sort of momentum, you would think that they'll use their voices for that. Not all of them, obviously, and not all the time. But then you would think that if you have some sort of, especially if you have like in Toxic's case where you have been petitioned, is that the right word? Or you have been summoned, let me put it that way, you've been summoned by the government to perform. You would think that at that point there should be some sort of stance made, right? Whichever side you go on, a stance will be made, and you would think that he would lean more on the youth side. So when I saw that, I was just like, oh man, like it had me thinking. And again, I don't want to play advocate here, but then it had me thinking. Number one, he didn't look 100% excited to be saying that. Like, he wasn't jumping up the stage, jumping across the stage, saying that those words that will not be uttered again. But at the same time, it's like you could have said no, right? So is this a case where he's protecting? He was trying to protect himself, like physically. You don't, again, it's kind of scary, and I hate to say it, but then we're living in a space where you can't really go against the government because of what has been happening. So is that a case where he was like afraid, or was the bag just splendid, spectacular, or the promises, whatever? If it's the promises of more bags. Was that the case? So I started thinking about that. But then going back, I'm like, nah, you can. There's been examples of artists who have said, nah, there's no bag you would give me that would make me want to side with something that backbencher going crazy and the youth like really feeling. I mean, he's becoming like one of the hottest names, right? Like, you should we're the managers, we're the advisors of artists' careers. Why would you put yourself in that position? I guess I don't know. I'm still a bit stumped.
So do you believe his words? Because he posted, Toxic Lyrikali said on X, he was like, ground ni ile niseme one time akiwa hapo nipotezwe. Essentially insinuating that if he goes up there, it doesn't say
fear
2-term, something crazy is gonna happen to him. Do you empathize with those words? Or Charisma has been very vocal about this situation on X, and he said, why even accept the gig in the first place?
That's
because
where
if he wasn't in that, if he wasn't in that situation in the first place, he wouldn't have to go through all those mental gymnastics, try to protect himself, kind of say the things that they want him to say, because they know right now Toxic Lyrikali has the eyes and ears of the youth, so they're gonna use him as a tool to propagate their agendas, right? So do you think it's on him and his team for even accepting it in the first place? Or is there a bigger narrative to be had where it's like, and this is what people have been saying on X, and a lot of users have been commenting under Charisma's posts, and now I'm just paraphrasing, but a lot of people are saying that, you see, where Toxic Lyrikali is from, the hood, poverty, not much money. When you see some of these bags coming, you take them because you don't know when next you're gonna get a bag.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to fumble some of these opportunities while you still have them. And a lot of people are really trying to empathize with that fact, saying that they can't really, they understand why somebody would take that gig in the first place. And what say you?
Yeah. So I might be on that side as well, where, all right, cool. Maybe with the communication that they had with whoever was the rep on the other side, it was like, okay, just going to come up and perform. Maybe because genuinely, he didn't look like he was so enthusiastic saying that stuff. Like, he just literally held up his hand and said 2-term and then put it down and then decided to bounce. It didn't seem like it was something that he's excited to do. So maybe there's that aspect of, listen, if I don't agree, that this thing was kind of sprung up on me, they're all watching. If the powers, the people who would have the power to get rid of him, they're all watching. So if I screw up here, maybe it's a thing where it's like, listen, let me protect myself. Self-preservation in human beings is it's not something you can easily explain away. When it comes to it, a human being will do whatever they feel they need to do to protect themselves. So it's that. But then if we take it a step back and the kind of government you're at. So for me now, it's like, is the bag so good that you're going to risk having to go against a lot of your fan base? Because a lot of his fan base are much younger people. A lot of his fan base were probably out on the streets in the different times. A lot of his fan base were probably knew someone who was affected by a lot of by the protests and everything, and just the nastiness that came out of that. So it's a very, I would honestly, for me, I don't think it would be a difficult decision. But if the bag is like you said, that life-changing money, then I could see why someone would be like, okay, you know what, let me do that. And especially if you're bringing now to the artists and the art side and just about musicians in the industry, sometimes we don't have you might not have the foresight or someone in your team to tell you, hey, listen, I know this bag is great, but if we take this bag, it's going to affect our trajectory and and putting all that data in place. Sometimes a lot of these younger artists don't really have that. They don't have that kind of guidance. And so they're just making a decision off their own personal experience, which might not be that much in the industry, and end up messing themselves up later. So it's very tricky. Politics and the music, especially in our climate, is kind of it's a tricky thing.
It's a tricky one. And let me be so not to put everything on Toxic Lyrikali. He wasn't the only artist who was at State House. Dinah Chords was also present, and I believe Brooklyn Boys were also in attendance. I think people also say Bahati was also in.
I had Bahati's name.
Invited.
I think KJ called him right after Toxic was done to come offer up his own two-term.
And I don't know. I don't know if Dinah Chords also said two-term, but there's a day when, because I follow Dinah Chords on Instagram, and there's a day she cryptically posted on her story that, oh, I support this president of ours, and oh, why are you guys, like, not supporting like the president and all that stuff, like. And I don't know if she used the word two-term in that story post, but she took it down like in under like 3 minutes. So most people didn't end up seeing it. So I'm not surprised that she would take that back. A lot of people are saying Brooklyn Boys right now are really cold. So they're not surprised that they would take that back either. It is disappointing because these people have the eyes and ears of the kids, like we said. And oh man, like it's so sad because everybody was behind these guys to like be the next, generation, be the next flag bearers of our entertainment scene.
Do you think there's any world in which they can like finesse this where it doesn't really affect them?
Here's
another part of that question. Do you think our industry is the kind of industry that really holds on to this kind of thing?
Now that's another conversation because unfortunately, I don't think this is going to affect them as much. And okay, I say unfortunately, and some people might interpret that as me saying that I want them to fail from here on out, which I don't.
No.
But when you talk about what's happening in the country and the amount of lives that have been lost and the amount of turmoil families have gone through and the amount of economic strife that people are going through, and also the division because of in recent past, they've been trying to sow seeds of tribal discourse in the country, which is very evil.
Yeah.
Like, so when you count all these misdeeds and sins that the country has had to go through because of the government, it is very, very concerning when your artists are going on stage and saying two-term, or if they are even accepting these gigs in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe there's that fear that if they turn them down, that these guys will make things really difficult for them. But fuck that. Bro, we're fighting for the country, like...
Yeah.
Ultimately, if push comes to shove, I think we have to take the country over anything else. You have to take the well-being of,
because that's the environment that you'd be doing your art.
People,
that's the environment that you're doing your art, and you can't.
You know what I mean?
Art won't be able to thrive in a terrible environment. And even just saying those words, I guess, because that phrase two-term is a direct opposition to sort of the work that the protests and everything that people have been doing for the past year and in a few months is because what we came up with. Okay, you're not going to. You're not. We don't feel like you're fit to lead, and so that you're only at most you're only going to be there for that one term. And so now that phrase is like their retaliation, literal retaliation to sort of what has been done, and saying that no, you know what, I'm still here to stay. It doesn't matter what you guys think. And so an artist going up there and saying it, even if whether there's a bag involved or whether like it feels like a slap in the face to a lot of people. I don't know whether it's a wise move to make. Of course, you really can't tell someone how to live their lives and how to sort of go about their career. Like you can't do that, right? It's not practical. But it's just sad, man. I don't know. And
there's some things. There's some things that I mean, some things you expect your artists to kind of know.
Yeah, but not everyone is a fighter. Not everyone is
that's
not
true.
Everyone is on that wave.
And
honestly,
and also that's one of the biggest realizations I've also been making in terms of when you go on social media. Like I feel like I exist in a bubble where in my bubble everybody hates Ruto. Everybody would want him to only have one term or even half term. You know what I mean? But that's my bubble. I'm realizing more and more like there's people outside of this bubble who actually support the guy. You know, when I saw Diana Cods posting on her story, I was taken aback. But clearly there's people with these views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe none of them was coerced to go for those shows. You know, maybe they actually genuinely
it's just another gig for them.
The president.
Yeah. It's just another gig.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It is very disappointing. And I do also, you know, I'm also very sad about the fact that people's financial standings get taken advantage of every single day, because you know, a lot of people make decisions based off of their lack of stability or comfort. And a lot of artists, when faced with this challenge, you know, would take the call just because there's a bag attached to it. And that's very sad. And it's politicians. They know this. They know that they can prey on somebody's need for financial stability. But then these people wouldn't have that need if the politics of the country was doing what the politics of the country needs to do.
I feel like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
but
it's a very toxic circle.
I feel like it falls back on the artist, because I'm thinking of situations where, fine, at that beginning stage, you might not have you need the bag, you need the amount of money, you need that. But once there's stable artists who still do that, because it stops being a bag I need from a bag I'm not able to turn down.
True.
From a bag I can't turn down, a bag I can't resist. So it's always going to be, so it's, if you're going to have your principles, you need to have them from day one. If you don't have them, if they're shaky and then there's always going to be a carrot that looks juicy enough to be dangled in front of you that you're going to go for. Money, fame, whatever it is, there's always going to be something so it's just really important for artists, especially as you're beginning, to know what you stand for and figure that out. I mean, look at what they said about KJ. KJ was, you know, back in the ridiculous days, and he was one of the people who are actually like on the other side talking about some of these things, and now he's on stage and everything doing that, and he's caught a lot of heat for that.
By the way. Sing three
just throwing random terms, man. In there,
that's egregious, man.
Yeah, it's that also. And if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you know what's to say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Something like that. You have to have your principles set in the beginning. So, and we don't fully know. So I don't like going. We're just judging off what we see and sort of our perception of things. But then it looks nasty. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all.
To answer your initial question, I think this whole situation doesn't affect Toxic Lyrikali as much as we think it does.
So cancel culture not strong enough?
No, I think people will forget that this whole situation happened. And the people that remember are just a vocal minority, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think most of the people will just kind of like push past it, or you know, accept his apology or empathize with his position. And I don't want Toxic Lyrikali to like fall off and not make not make it out
too.
of the struggle.
It's looking,
you know what I mean? It's not like
so promising for him.
I know it's not like I want him to now just fail, because I think wanting people's downfall like that is just a bit abrasive. But I am disappointed, and I do feel a way about listening to his music now. I just generally do. Like, I don't know, you know.
Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. Sorry for interrupting. Do you think that people in the industry should sort of like blackball other people for their political stances?
That happens a lot. It's very subjective though.
Yeah.
Because in this scenario, yeah, like fuck people who are supporting Ruto. I'm not giving you opportunities for shit, man. Like if I'm in a position of power, let's say I'm a huge promoter, right? Bro, I'm sorry. I'm not booking you for shows if you're online, if your main audience are supporters of the government and stuff like that. I am blackballing the shit out of you. I'm sorry. That's just how I'm moving. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, that power can also be misused because the people who are in support of that would use the power to only give it to the people who support the government and stuff like that. And those people get the gigs. So from my perspective, it's like, I guess that's why I'm saying it's very subjective. It's very subjective because the people on that side will say that I'm also evil or I'm also bad for using my power in that sense. So it's subjective. But to answer your question, I think sometimes it is needed. Like we need to regulate some people's views, especially people who have big platforms. Like if I'm a gatekeeper or if I'm somebody who has the power to blackball people, I'm not gonna put like an Andrew Tate or like an Aiden Ross in a position to influence people if I had the power to do that. I'm blackballing you from doing that. And I know that sounds bad, but like I'm using my power to like not let these people have those platforms. What about you? What do you say?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm almost always on, apart from if it's just an opinion, that's fine. But if it's an egregious wrong that you're outrightly positively endorsing, that could be potentially harmful to more people, then that's when I'm like, okay, maybe we might need to minimize the visibility. But then I'm always on the side of I'm never okay with keeping not dimming the lights, that's the wrong way to say it, but I'm never okay with censoring, I guess. In that sense, I guess that's what it is. I'm never okay with censoring because I think that could just easily go wrong. And if it's in the wrong hands, then the artists and art ends up suffering even more.
But at some point, some things need to be censored. And it's okay. That's a crazy stance to have because there's parts of me that agree with you like strongly, and I think
there's
even
parts of me that agree with exactly what you're saying as well. I'm just more on this side.
Yeah, because I've argued on your side as well. Because even when we were having the whole argument about like, oh, like Cardi B and them, they be singing about this stuff. You should just tell the parents to tell the kids not to listen to this stuff because why censor that? And I was on that side of like, let's not censor these artists for that. But then there's certain things that need to be said. Like if a creator like Andrew Tate, I keep on going to Andrew Tate, is peddling the narrative to young impressionable boys that being a dick to women, that just being a horrible person is okay. But
you see, that's
like
where
in the pursuit
and I'm not necessarily
manlyhood.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily arguing for that. I'm not arguing for that at all. But then that's where someone will come in and say, "But it's an opinion, and aren't people allowed to have their opinions about whatever?"
But it's not just an opinion because those opinions become things that these kids act on when they internalize those opinions, and then they become their outlooks on life. And so back to Toxic Lyrikali, it's like saying two-term empowers people to support a government, like I said, that's killed so many people. And that's kind of like empowering the system that has taken away so much from its people. So bro, in my opinion, it's not just an opinion. It's more than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. Dang. Get some people on your team who have your entire career in focus as an artist.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But hey, listen. The person who's happy about this situation is Paroti. Whatever Paroti is like, yo, I told
like
you.
I told you. Look, see,
so.
look.
Yeah, this is like, yeah. Look, what did I say? What? Bro, Paroti,
I told
bro,
you
when
guys.
Paroti saw all the hate, bro was fist pumping, man. He was celebrating like he scored at 90th minute winner, like at the Banabao.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Anyway,
but yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how he navigates. I mean, because you can definitely navigate your way out of this.
He'll be fine.
He's already started the damage control. So
Toxic Lyrikali will be fine. Like I'm telling you, he's not going to suffer because of this. In my opinion, maybe I am jaded, but I think he'll just keep pushing. But he has a few chances left. He has a few lives left, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, just again, as I wrap up, as artists, you have to be careful, bro. Especially when it comes to politics, you have to be careful. You have to really weigh out your options.
You have to be careful.
Yeah. And if you're on that side, stay on that side. Don't come dancing and then telling us that, whatever it is. Like, nah. If you're on that side, stay on that side. Don't play with people.
Stay on that side. And speaking of, actually, I want to tie this in. Speaking of why I think Toxic Lyrikali will be fine and why I think Kenyans forget very easily, let's talk about I'm not even going to have like a big conversation about this, but like, remember the whole situation that happened at Masshouse in February?
Yep.
And how everybody was very, very disappointed that they could let a person just die like that. And there be no closure. There be very minimal information on what happened. But hey, a few months later, and that whole situation is like, it's barely talked about. And Masshouse are just, they're just thriving. Now, I'm not here to like be on this platform to say I know exactly what happened, because there's two very strong stories about what happened on that night. And for us, people who are just observers and who weren't there, it's so hard to take a side. But anyway, I just say this to say, Masshouse is still operating at a high level, and they recently just hosted Matata, who had their homecoming event.
Yeah.
And that looked like a really, really huge deal. They had the likes of Meja, they had Bien, they had Boutros, also had Toxic Lyrikali. Like I said, he's just going to be fine. They had, I believe, Brooklyn Boys were also on the ticket. Who else was performing? I think those were like the major performers, but I saw so many clips, and this Matata Mpishi EP tour looks like it's really thriving.
Yeah.
They've really been on like a massive
push
media tour, and yeah, it looks like there's a lot of energy behind them, and it's good to see, because I remember like when we started this podcast, Matata was very like in 2023, late 2022. Like people knew about Matata, but they were very distant. Like it felt like they weren't. It felt like they weren't part of our industry per se. It felt like they were doing things, but they were really, really, really not as involved.
Yeah, they felt like they felt like the foreign group that are trying to make their headway here.
But now Matata feel very, very ingrained into the industry, and it's good to see. And I think their approach has been really, really smart,
strategic
in terms of like
strategic collaborations. That's they've used collaborations really well, I think, in pushing in
really brilliantly,
making their name a little bit more household in Kenya. Like that's and collaborations could really do well for you if you plan those well. I think they've done that pretty decently.
And I think the song, for me, I think their best song, I think people will say Mpishi was really good, but I still think Inakubalika is...
It's like one of the moments. Yeah, one of the moments that really is...
I think that's their biggest moment. Because it was so organic and just like, wow, this song is amazing. And I think it's the song that kind of initiated the formula.
Yeah.
In quotes.
That break. And I would say that's been the best one yet. They haven't topped that. They haven't topped that break and the bars in between. Like, I'm still yet to see it. Hopefully, what projects are these guys released? If they're saying Mpishi EP tour, have they dropped an Mpishi EP? I mean, is that coming?
No, I think that's upcoming. And I wanted to ask Sam, do you think they will include songs like Inakubalika on the EP, or does it even matter because you know how American artists will drop like a project? No, they'll drop a song, and sometimes that song could be out 8 months, and then all of a sudden they drop an album.
Didn't French Montana drop Unforgettable on an album he did like 3 or 4 years later?
I know, that's crazy. But so do you think people play those games in Kenya where it doesn't matter that much?
Well, I think they might, just because if it's a body of... Well, it depends on what your goal is. If you're trying to like create like a legacy body of work where you want this to be like a solidified, like this is who we are, then you might throw some of your best songs in there. But the major reason that a lot of artists do that is to play the number games. And unfortunately, here in this part of the world, we don't really do the number games as much. Like albums, we're not really looking at first week album sales. And so now throwing the song that has done the best on a new EP, for that alone, like, man, no one cares. No one is buying anything here anyways. We're all streaming.
I agree.
So in terms of that, like if you want to throw it on for concept's sake, or for like, okay, we're trying to solidify ourselves with some of our best hits and turn that into an EP, then why not throw it on there? But then if it's like new, like it's cool to have that to live out on its own and then try and create more. The number games here, no one cares about that, man. Our numbers are so low. Our numbers.
Okay. Speaking of low numbers, have you seen how Tyler has been getting bashed? What
did Tyler do now? Tyler must be one of the most hated. Just one of the most hated new artists. Why?
Bro, me honestly, I feel bad for Tyler on a human level, because I think she gets so much hate, especially in America. So she released her album her EP. The WWP EP, and that's the one that has Wizkid on it. And I mean, it's only 4 songs, and yet the whole narrative in America has been like, oh, Tyler is flopped. Like, she only sold 4K. Like, oh my God, she's such a failure. Oh, this is why you don't rattle the African American audience. Because you see, this is what happens. You know, the African American audience are the people who consume all the music and if you don't have them on your back, you're going to fail. Then I've seen so many think pieces about how it's not like Tyler isn't the problem. Like, you see, there's so many, no, not the problem, but Tyler isn't an exception. There's so many mixed race girls who do so well. You look at Lato, you look at Sawiti, you look at this and that, and I'm like, first of all, those are American people. Like, Tyler is
there's
African,
big context missing. Is that Tyler is an African artist
huge,
that was
there's huge context missing in that. Now, what I will say, though, is musically, I think Tyler has struggled. Let's just be honest. I think ever since Water came out, she's really struggled to have like an identity.
You can tell they're trying to get one more. They're trying to get another one. They've been trying.
They are. And whenever you're trying to get one, it's never a vibe. You should never be trying. You should just be doing, you know. But the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is as much as people are ridiculing Tyler for doing 4,000 streams first week or 4,000 sales first week in America, it's not even like African artists even do that well on the charts anyway. And for me, I wanna really break this whole stereotype or this whole thinking that Africans need to like break into the American market to be something.
Yeah.
Like I think we need to stop twerking for these guys and start like.
Why'd you say it like that?
Yeah, we did, but we're twerking for them. We're trying to like really just impress them. So look, you look at the top. If you look at the top selling African albums in terms of first week sales, number one is Burna Boy's Love Damini with 26k units.
That's laughable for an artist who's based out there. It's laughable. It's like 26k.
Like if Trippie Redd or I don't know if just like a smaller tier artist released a project and they did 26k, they're getting ridiculed. They're being like, oh my God, that's such a failure. You went triple plastic. But you see, for us,
double glass,
26k double glass, man. Like 26k units is the biggest first week sales in America for an African artist. Number 2 is still Burna Boy with I Told Them, 20,000. I'll just give you the top 5. Number 3 is Davido's Timeless with 17k. Number 4 is Stems's Born in the Wild with 16k. And number 5 is Wizkid's More Love Less Ego with 13k. The reason why I even bring these numbers up is, one, I'm actually very proud of these numbers because this isn't even our market in the first place. And I think we just
struggling to crack 1,000 sales, man. And not a shade. It's just the nature of the industry, man. Like we don't do a lot of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think African artists need to stop this. We all need to stop trying to pander to the American audience. And I think we just need to.
Yeah, and we have to realize, one, let's just be honest with ourselves. Not as much as African music is in conversations in like the big labels and the gatekeepers and deciders. The majority of that market is not listening to African music. Like I think sometimes we get lost in the image, in the picture that there's the Grammys they've started a whole new category, and there's African artists who are being nominated for this and that and all of that business, and then labels are really focusing and signing, and we tend to think that that's the picture of what's going on. A majority of those people are not listening, and that's why then those numbers. Because I mean, Tyler, that song, that's a worldwide, it's a global hit. Still, it didn't really translate as much. And so you have to realize that cool, do your best to make headway into that market, but then also like you're here and try and figure out how to have a more holistic career than just abandoning yourself for a market that you might not necessarily thrive in as much as you would if you try to put in most of your resources to people who already rock with you.
And a market that's so ready to bash you, like the moment you make a misstep.
Talk about cancel culture.
Like
those guys are
the moment you just say anything. Because, bro, I'm sorry. When it comes to that whole argument, I'm so squarely on Tyler's side. But you see, the problem is
what argument?
Unfortunately, like the whole when Tyler said she doesn't view herself as black, and she says like where she's from is colored, like she's colored. Like the context that's missing here is that's culturally what they describe themselves as.
They went
South
through
Africa,
their own
right?
struggle as well. It's not.
it's just
so
not
annoying.
So essentially, she's just not describing herself as black in the way that African Americans view themselves as black. You know what I mean? And I think we need to be accepting of both ways in which people view themselves.
Both struggles,
right? Because African
Americans,
people
went through hell.
Yeah, both African Americans also have their struggle, and it's one that's deeply empathized.
How
with.
you come and say, but Tyler, the hell you went through is not as bad as the hell we went through. So we we get to call ourselves that term.
And that's
arrogant.
And that's the
character.
problem. That's the crux of the matter. Like people out here are always so quick to kind of say that they're the ones who've gone through the real struggle.
Yeah.
And everything here is about race. And you're in Africa over there living in your paradise of having the same race. Bro, trust me, we also have our own struggles, my guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like bro, me, I'm pro
Tyler.
Africans catering to Africans, because bro, at the end of the day, I feel like we're the ones who originate all this dope shit. Let's not even lie, man. Like, I just feel like we have our own sauce that we need to believe in more than just having validation from these other markets. And that's something very important for the artists who are coming up today to understand, because that's what's gonna like set you aside when you start making your art. If you come up trying to pander, it's not gonna lead to longevity.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say Africans create for Africa alone. I think by nature of just location and where you are, you would be creating for the environment around you. But then just as an artist, just realize there's so many artists come up and their goal is immediately to make it in the West, make it in America, make it in Europe, make it. I don't realize that you're a small fish swimming in the ocean against the current, and there's sharks around, and there's boats, and there's mines in the ground, and how it's an uphill battle from the start. So it's just realize that, make music, but then if the opportunity comes to expand your market, then do that. But then looking for validation from a completely separate market could come off as a bit irresponsible, actually, where you have a lot that you can do here, but then you choose not to do it.
Facto. That's a huge fact. Sam, were the songs this week driving you crazy?
All right.
Because they were driving me crazy.
That. You can't even do that because this week wasn't like stacked like that. So you can't.
Okay.
You can't be doing that. New music, man. New music drops. I'm going first.
What did you listen to?
Well, the first one I saw was Zaituni Wambui's name, so I ran to that, obviously. She dropped to Rasa Moore, NSB, I don't know what that stands for, and Mambo Brown. The song is called Nawaza, which was pretty interesting. I think some of the vocals in the middle were not as strong as the rest. Like, it wasn't consistent for me. But I love the guitars on that joint, so it was pretty cool. Savara Fina Elijah Kitaka dropped Pamoja, which sounds like, is this like a soundtrack for the tournament going on? It just sounds like a World Cup soundtrack. Sounds like a football.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. I then went to Saint Evo. I was like a Saint Evo drop. He dropped Yeshua. That was interesting. And I didn't really go too much. Let me see. Oh, Octopizzo. Like Octopizzo's album art looked interesting. So I clicked on it. The song is called Cardi, produced by Keith Wams, I'm sure. This was cool. Keith Wams has had harder beats that I feel like Octopizzo would have slid on. But he probably chose this one for a reason. Maybe it's one of those things where you send like an artist like all of your best stuff, then they pick the one you're like, I don't know. But that's cool. Hornsphere dropped African Savannah. I'm always here for some instrumental music. And so they did that. Speaking of Shamsi, like, what up? Like, you guys haven't dropped in a minute. I'm really waiting for some Shamsi release. A couple of other songs. Disco Vibes by Irene. That was cool. Red Sun dropped Big Shot. Sounds like the time where he was coming up. Which I don't know. I don't know how you're going to feel about that. But yeah, that was that. Let me see. Was there anything else I particularly want to mention? No. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think you mentioned most of the songs really, because aside from those, I listened to Njia by Mandy. She was really putting her feelings to
feelings,
the pen.
Yeah. Her pen. Her pen was crying on the page, bro. Her pen was crying on the page. Man. That was an emotional one. somewhat.
Kadi by Octopizzo. I also listened to. The sample was fire. So shout out to them. For that beat. That beat was hard. Kuchitakia by Harry Craze. Also listened to that. Did you mention? I think you mentioned Yeshua by Saint Evo. I just want to shout him out.
Yep.
For that, because that was a good song. How Many by 8th Street Gang. They keep releasing as well. So shout out to them. Let's see. Vigelegele by Lovins Mackenzie. That was also a very nice drop. Yeah, man. But there's one song.
Hey, yo, don't forget Rose Muhando, bro. Rose Muhando dropped Nishike Mkono, bro.
Yeah.
Priscilla Makio, Rose Muhando dropped a fire joint. Please go check that out. Rose Muhando, legend. We salute you.
Shame on me for forgetting.
Can you believe
But shout
that?
out to
Crazy.
Rose Muhando, man. But hey, speaking of just legendary names, man. There's one song that came out this week that made me feel like I need to buy some Shambalas. I felt like I needed an Arafat.
Oh, you need a Supra,
Bro,
man.
I felt like I needed
the bright blue Supras.
like some Supras.
Yeah, with the gold chain on it.
And just like some skinny jeans. You know what I mean? And then just like bro. I mean, even maybe a waistcoat, just buy just a waistcoat, like layer it and then have a tie, just for no reason.
What kind of drip is
just
that?
Wear a
What
tie
kind
for
of
no
drip is
reason.
that? That's crazy. That seems like a lot.
No, that's some crazy.
That seems like a lot to be doing.
That's some drippy drip, man. Listen, but this song just took me back. Like immediately I heard the first doom, doom, doom. I already knew.
You already know what it
I'm
is.
in 2011.
Yeah.
And the song I'm
such an
talking
iconic
about
sound.
is Huyu Manzi Wangu ni Crazy. Hey, Crazy. By Nameless and Calvo Mistari.
Calvo Mistari. He was. It's that vintage rap, but. Fam, I've almost forgot how good that sounds sometimes, man. Like some of those joints where the lines and the way that they use the words. It's just nostalgic. It just feels good. Rap has changed so much too.
It
you
has.
really don't think about it.
But genuinely, I do think if this song comes out in 2011,
smash 2012, out of here. Oh, crazy. Done.
This is a
Musyoka
hit.
too.
This is a
Musyoka
hit.
on it. Nah.
I know,
gone.
man. Musyoka really, bro. Maybe I have a theory he might have had this beat like for a while. He just never used it, and he was
let's hear
guys,
it, bro.
I have this beat from ages ago. You guys just like, let's see what you do. Because for me, the hook is really catchy. Because I've just been saying, Huyu Manzi Wangu ni Crazy. Like for Sam hates me right now for just saying Crazy.
Absolutely terrible.
Anyway, shout out to them. And yeah, that's actually the song we're going to play for the end of the podcast.
Take it back.
So
Take it back to 2010s, bro.
Strap yourself in because we're going on a time capsule. This is like the Magic School Bus. We're going back in time and we're going to listen to the song Crazy by Nameless and Calvo Mistari.
Hello. Ni Calvo. Hello. Na Nameless. Hello. Musyoka. I'm going crazy, my sweet mommy. Umenishika design unafuata di. Leo nataka ni come, kesho nataka ni go. Mara unataka tu flow, saa zingine unanibo. Bado na kulike mami. Bado napenda vile unaniweka mi. Maswag za juu, mabusi juu ntadu. Luku safi baby, sumeiva tu. Yani mood ni ya moonlight. Dimi your room light. Roses kwenye floor, let's have a good night. Mistari zinakwama kwenye core. Umeni mix design ya whiskey coca.
You love me, Mara, you don't. You call me Mara, you don't. You want me, Mara, you don't. Who you man see, wangu ni crazy. She love me, Mara, she don't. She want me, Mara, she don't. She call me Mara, she don't. Who you man see, wangu ni crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Who you man see, wangu ni crazy. Nishule gani ina bidi bidi ende. Johnny West kuelewa mamanse. Your reactions is so complicated. Mathematical, all integrated.
Kuelewa ni PhD. Ako complicated kuliko CBC. Kukana yeni ka unalipa VAT, sizi ya ka una shares NSC bana. Dem kwanza umbembeleze, umsho intention zangu mamijoni kupende. Kila boys tu wanadaya kuweke, wakicheki iyo drip na teke. Bamina dai tu ni kupende, alafu leta kwa live kipro ni cheze. Baby punguza kuchizi daily, tulia kiasi tukamata ni daily.
You love me, Mara, you don't. You call me Mara, you don't. You want me, Mara, you don't. Who you man see, wanguni crazy. She love me, Mara, she don't. She want me, Mara, she don't. She call me Mara, she don't. Who you man see, wanguni crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Who you man see, wanguni crazy. Girls are made in Venus and you see rude boys are made in Mars. Rude girls are made in Venus and you see rude boys are made in Mars. Rude girls are like them flowers and you see rude boys we like them cars. Rude girls are like them flowers and you see rude boys we like them cars. Them cars, we liking them cars. We liking them cars. We liking them cars. Them cars, them cars. We liking them cars. We liking them cars. We liking them cars. Them cars, them cars.
She love me, Mara. She don't. She want me, Mara. She won't. Who you manzi wagudi crazy. Wait, shout out to Nameless and Calvo Mistari and the big dog Eric Musyoka for crazy. Yeah, man. I actually really like this song. It's just a feel good vibe. It just takes me back to my childhood.
I like the sonics of it too. I feel like Eric, we're just now getting a bit nerdy, but I feel like Eric Musyoka threw a clipper on the whole thing. It just sounds like there's a beautiful crunch. It's just a lovely little clipping,
a nice crunch
on it that it just feels nice and bouncy and round and warm. We like throwing, as engineers, we like throwing around warm. It feels very warm.
Warm. Oh, this sounds sweet. This sounds
it sounds analog. It's not digital. It sounds analog. Yeah.
It sounds analog. Yeah. But shout out to them and. Shout out to y'all for listening to this podcast as dedicatedly as you do. Sam and I genuinely do appreciate you. We started this podcast because we love Kenyan music and Kenyan artists, and we want to have this platform because we want to uplift them. And hey, like I've been saying in the past few episodes, Kenyan artists deserve to be played more and paid more. If you're new here, I have this mantra that I've been trying to say at the end of the podcast for myself because I'm not perfect.
You've been saying it for the past 100.
I've just been doing it.
It's not trying.
No, I'm trying. No, Sam, listen, let me be a little bit modest.
Lol.
Come on. But anyway, the mantra in question is the 3 C's. And the first one being confidence. You need to be really, really confident in your art. You need to be confident in the stuff that you're putting out because that confidence is going to translate to the listener, to the viewer, to the observer. And that's what's going to convince them to be on your side and support your music and support your art. Number 2, consistency. If you're not consistent, you are not going to get anywhere. Consistency beats talent every single day.
Facts.
If you're consistent, you will make it in the industry. Sure, you might not be as talented as artist X. Sure, you might not be as talented as artist A, B, and C. But
all the way down to W.
Those guys. But if you stick to the program, like when those guys slack, guess who's gonna be there to pick up the pieces?
26 letters of the alphabet.
You're gonna be there.
You, and so one of them at least will. Something will work out at some point.
But it's true. But it's true though. Like the people who really, really persist in our memories are the people who are really consistent. So be consistent. And number 3, craft. Always work on your craft. Every day, spare 5 minutes to furthering yourself, furthering your talent, furthering your interest in whatever craft you've chosen to dedicate your life to, and you will begin to see some really, really tangible results.
Yeah. I have one C.
Okay, let's go.
See you guys in episode 143.
Yo.
That's funny. Stop hating. You're hating, bro. You must be tired.
You need to be.
You're tired from all this podcasting.
I have another.
That's why.
No, I have another C. You need to be cancelled for that because that was horrible.
No, that's not as cool as my C was better, bro.
First of all, your C was not even a C.
It was.
Let's even start there. So, bro, it's not.
No, it's C. You know how people write the C and then just the U? C-U and then L-8-R. See you later.
Oh
yeah, man.
God.
You're just hating. That's the problem. You're just hating. And I didn't even know why, honestly.
I'm speechless. And I know you guys are as well.
No,
so
don't.
I guess we'll see you.
My co-host is against me.
It's not like I'm even speaking on their behalf. I think everybody agrees with me that Sam, that was egregious. That was just horrible.
I said what I said.
We will see you guys at episode 144, I guess. We'll see you guys.
It's catchy.